What's up, techies? I want to go over what my experience has been like for the first 48 hours with the OnePlus 3. I've had the OnePlus 3 for a little bit over 48 hours now, and I want to share my experience with you guys of what it's been like. Obviously, I still need more time with this before I give a full opinion. Thank you so much for your input over on my unboxing video. I've got a lot of questions to answer so far, and I'm going to do that in my full review, but I want to touch on a few of those subjects here in this video with the 48 hours video. Overall, I've actually been really pleased with the OnePlus 3. It's not really giving me any fits or trouble. I like the build quality, the metal design is awesome, the camera has performed really well, the fingerprint reader is really quick and fast. The screen is actually really good just to the naked eye, and you get a modified stock Android experience through Oxygen OS. By the way, that little bug that you saw in the first video to where you double tap the power button to get to the camera from the lock screen and when it was flipping back and forth, that has been fixed already. The update that you saw in that video fixed that bug. So there's the camera, hit the home button now. No going back and forth. I know the battery life is a big concern with a lot of people, so I want to touch on that just briefly, but mind, I'm going to need a few more extra days before I get a full opinion about the battery life, because I got this basically over the weekend, and I use my phone entirely different over the weekend than I do during the weekdays. But what I can tell you from the battery life that I've experienced so far is that this point in time is from that testing video that I did with the charging speed. So from that point all the way to this point, I still have 40% left, which if I don't use it much at all, I'm still going to get 9 hours of battery life. Screen on time is a little over 2 hours. I haven't had tons of time on this phone, just enough to kind of do some secondary tasks and whatnot, but the battery life, as far as standby time kind of goes, it's actually doing really well. I really honestly don't really like getting into the battery life discussion much at all because there's so many variables involved. I use my phone differently than you or anybody else. I mean, there might be some similarities, but for the most part, I'm using my phone all day long. I'm doing all kinds of tasks. I'm taking pictures, doing video, watching videos, social media, emails, phone calls, basically everything you can do with the smartphone. But I mean, the phone got me through the day at least, and that's all I'm asking for. One of my favorite features is actually the buttons here, and you can swap around the buttons. One, you can make it capacitive buttons, or you can do on screen. I choose to do the capacitive because that's what I prefer, and I also like the back button on the right hand side versus the left side. On the left side I have my Recents app, and again I got the back button on the right hand side. But you can actually toggle all this kind of stuff on of how you want it to function, along with some more actions like long pressing and double taps. Another thing I really appreciate about this phone is actually the speaker quality. I remember when the OnePlus 1 came out and I was extremely excited about it. I know the speakers aren't perfect, but they sound better, and it's just been a nice experience, at least on my end. I don't know how well this microphone or your audio on your end is picking up that kind of sound quality or not, but I've enjoyed the speaker more on this phone than I did the Galaxy S7 Edge. Another element of sound quality that I look for in a phone is actually the call quality. Call quality sounds great on this phone as well. There's no complaints about it. Another obvious question, if you pay attention to any other tech, YouTube news or videos, is the RAM management. This has 6 gigs of RAM. Everybody's expecting it to perform extremely well, and I must say that this has actually performed decently well for me. Like, I've got no complaints about how it's performing as far as functions go. Now this is like Google Plus, and I'm on the other side of the house. I got plenty of walls between here and my Wi-Fi signal, but it's still picking up. The Wi-Fi seems to be okay on it. I'm doing those kind of tasks. I'm between apps and all that kind of stuff. And as you can see here, I got plenty of apps running in the background. And it's still performing just fine. So I don't know, like, I've had no real issues with this phone yet so far. The last thing I want to talk about is actually the display. This is a 1080p screen. Then we got two 2K screens here. And just to my naked eye, I actually like what the 1080p display is actually putting out. None of these phones have auto brightness on or adaptive display or anything like that. It's full brightness, no adjustments at all. And just to prove that, bear with me, I'm going to get to all the settings and let you see for yourself. Got display there, you can see brightness all the way up, auto display is not on. For the S7 Edge, I do have screen mode adaptive display versus AMOLED Cinema, AMOLED Photo, or Basic. The OnePlus 3, go to display, no adaptive brightness. It's got color balance. I have not touched that at all. And as far as the Nexus 6P, brightness level is all the way up, no adaptive brightness. or any other kind of adjustments. I was actually very curious to see what my wife thought about the displays, so I wanted to ask her what the best display was in her opinion. Out of these phones, which display do you think is the best?
This one?
The one in the middle?
Yes.
So you heard it from her, and she's not the phone expert in the house. She thought that the OnePlus 3's display was better than the Galaxy S7 Edge and also the Nexus 6P. I thought that was actually pretty interesting because typically you're going to see the Galaxy S7 Edge and it's going to have the better display. Long story short, the OnePlus 3 has been a great experience so far. I've really got no complaints about it at all. But I'm going to have more time with this before I give a full opinion. But so far, so good. Be sure to follow me, especially on Twitter and Instagram, as I'm posting stuff about the OnePlus 3 throughout the day and throughout this week. If you've got any more questions about the OnePlus 3, leave them down in the comments below. I'll do my best to try to include them in my OnePlus 3 review. Be on the lookout for that review really soon. So you're going to want to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss that video and you can see it first when it comes out. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Hit that thumbs up if you like this video, and until then, stay techie.